I know you love earning travel rewards and cash back, and that's why you're going to love Rakuten. With Rakuten, you can earn cash back on everything you need to book your dream trip, hotels, flights, rental cars, experiences, and more, while still booking through your favorite travel sites. And don't worry, cash back can be earned on top of earning the credit card points and the hotel and airline loyalty points that matter most to you, depending on how you make your booking. Plus, with Rakuten, you can also earn cash back on groceries and other purchases like electronics, pet supplies, and more. And the best part, you can join today for free and start earning cash back on top of your travel rewards. Go to Rakuten.com or get the app. That's Rakuten, Rakuten. Rakuten, the most rewarding way to shop.
This episode is brought to you by TaxAct. Don't do your taxes alone. Join TaxAct's National Admin Night. Admin nights are social gatherings for getting through your to-do list. So get ready for a night of fun, finding deductions, and filing taxes with TaxAct, where you can file your federal and state return for just $49 through April 8. Let's get together and get them over with. Visit taxact.com/admin-night for details.
So, I've been living in Rome for about 15 years now, for both work, as we've opened up all across Europe, but also just for fun, have traveled all over Europe. And these are just kind of a collection of some of my favorite items and things that, like, when I first tried it, I was like, wow, this is something you have to try.
That is today's guest, Kenny Dunn. You heard him mention traveling around Europe for work because as the founder of Eating Europe, which is the biggest food tour company on the continent, his job is literally to find the best food experiences in Europe. So this isn't just a random list of 11 must-try European dishes you're going to get today. This is a curated list from a European food expert. And along the way, Kenny will provide some cultural context on these dishes. He will share some specific restaurant recommendations and home cooking tips for each dish. And I thought, well, a lot of people are at home getting cozy during this time of year. Maybe you're one of them. And we can give some travel recommendations, of course, if you're traveling around Europe. Plenty coming out of this episode. But also, why not encourage you to make some of these dishes at home, which is why we also paired each dish as a bonus with a movie or a television show. We thought that'd be a fun way to add something extra to this episode, give you plenty of opportunity to stay cozy at home, and it's a fun one. So let's get into it, shall we? Strap in. Thanks for being here, and welcome to the Zero to Travel podcast, my friend.
You're listening to the Zero to Travel podcast, where we explore exciting travel-based work, lifestyle, and business opportunities, helping you to achieve your wildest travel dreams. And now your host, world wanderer and travel junkie, Jason Moore.
Hey, it's Jason here with ZeroToTravel.com. Welcome to the show, my friend. Thanks for being here, letting me bring a little travel into your ears today. This is the show to help you travel the world on your terms to fill your life with as much travel as you desire, no matter what your situation or experience. I want to quickly remind you before we dive in, ZeroToTravel.com/newsletter is our free community newsletter. Goes out once a week. You can keep in touch off the pod there. And again, that is free. I should mention before we dive in, you can find Kenny on all the socials at Eating Europe and, of course, eatingeurope.com. And also in this episode, partway through the interview, we're going to share our final installment of our special 3-part mini-series, The Best in Travel Tech. Today, I'm focusing on money. I want to talk about some tech tools you can use for pre-trip saving, on-trip spending, and post-trip ideas to set yourself up financially for your next trip. So coming into the new year, thought that would be a fun way to wrap up that series. So be on the lookout for that. And of course, the main event, Kenny bringing these incredible recommendations for you today. Get ready to discover iconic foods from London to Prague, points in between and beyond. And you'll even hear about a sandwich that Anthony Bourdain once called monuments to excess. Thanks for listening. Please enjoy my conversation with Kenny, and I will see you on the other side, my friend. Cheers. Kenny Dunn, welcome back to the Zero to Travel podcast, my friend. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Jason. And it's good to be back. Very good.
And hear you, of course, for the listeners. Of course, Kenny, the founder of Eating Europe. Check them out at eatingeurope.com. They do incredible food tours all over Europe, the biggest food tour company in Europe, most likely operating in 20 cities now. But keeping it real, I'd say. I mean, I did one of your early food tours, and I did one recently in Italy. You guys, you go into the local neighborhoods, you're meeting locals. It's an awesome experience. So congrats on all the success. I mean, I know you guys have been featured in like Rick Steves, who we've had on the pod, National Geographic, all these places. Anyway, all that being said, if you're going to do a food tour, and I think you should, it's Eating Europe is the way to go. I've known Kenny since college, so I know he's got a good heart, and he is here today to share 11 European must-have European dishes. What I like about this format, and we're going to get into it in a minute, is that you can travel at home too. This is a way, like, you can take, of course, the ideal version is we're going to talk about places and you can go to have these experiences. But you could also make some of these dishes at home and have a little cultural thing going on there. Do you do that with your kid? Are you doing the international cuisine thing?
Well, I don't know if it was just a genetic thing or it was more nurture, but he's turned it. So I have a son, he just turned 13 on Sunday, and he loves, food and international food. I mean, YouTube obviously helps. So he loves cooking, and that's mostly from all the different guys he follows on YouTube. But a lot of what we do make is not Italian, just because there's so much good Italian and Roman food, specifically, just outside our door.
Because you live in Rome. We forgot to mention that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm based in Rome, originally from Philly, like Jason. But yeah, so when we go, yeah, at home, we're making a lot of curry or like, I don't know, shepherd's pie or typically a lot of Asian food lately from all over the continent. But yeah, we also cook some home dishes. But some of the stuff that I'll mention is 11 things you must try, 11 European foods you must try before you die. Yeah, we have made it home, a couple of them. But yeah, so our listeners can also try to make these at home. Why not?
Yeah. Before we dive in, I was just thinking about the last tour I was on with your company in Rome. And just, comparing that to the sort of American experience, I feel like, and maybe this is a romanticized version, you can tell me, you're based in Italy. I mean, I generally go to the supermarket at what we would call the grocery store in America in Norway. But I feel like maybe in Italy, or at least in Rome or some of these places, the shopping part is part of the experience. Like, you can go to the local butcher, you can go to this shop and that shop, and there's all these specialty shops. Is that just from the outside looking in, like idealistic, idealizing the sort of like, I'm in France and I'm going to go get my baguette at the local thing and I'm going to go here for this and that? I mean, is that how people actually live, or most people just go to the grocery store? Is the shopping for the food part of the experience, or can it be? Of course it can be, but is that normal?
Yeah, so I would answer that, yes and no. So definitely something I love here in Rome, and you see it in Paris, and you see it in cities all over Italy for sure, but also many places in Europe outside of Italy. You still have your local bakery, butcher, fishmonger. I mean, the markets, in Italy, and Paris is a great example too, are still a really big, important part of the life and culture in these places. So yeah, I mean, for me personally, and a lot of people I know and just kind of looking around, I mean, are going to the market every day, buying their fruit and veggies, buying their meats. There's an incredible cheesemonger, Emiliano, in my market that has, a couple hundred kinds of cheeses, the fishmonger, etc. Why I said no is even in the 15 years I've been here, I've seen so many more supermarkets open up. And these aren't American humongous supermarkets, but more European sized supermarkets, and they're opening up because they're getting a lot more customers. So I think probably 50 years ago, let's call it 80% of people in Rome probably went to the mercato, the outdoor market. And now, yeah, it's a much smaller percentage, but they're still in every neighborhood, as are all these other shops. Um, and I mean, this morning for breakfast, just before hopping on the pod, I went to this French bakery that I have just down the street, and they're packed. I mean, so a lot of these small little businesses are thriving, um, but supermarkets are definitely a big part of life here as well.
Okay. Yeah, cool. I mean, that can be just a fun thing if you're home and you want to get the sort of travel feeling instead of going to the supermarket. Try to go to the local butcher or something like that. Most towns have that even if you're home. But just like, it's fun to kind of break it up, try to mix in these little travel-like experiences, I guess, when you're home. I get caught in my routines and stuff like that, like everybody else. So I need ideas to break out of that. So, all right, I think we're going to get some ideas through some of these dishes as well. Should we dive in? I mean, must have before you die is a pretty extreme statement. I like that. It's provocative. It's like, you must have this before you die.
Things to try before you die. I would say that. Let's smooth out the edges
that
a little
book,
bit.
1,000 Places to Visit Before You Die. I guess that's why it's a perennial bestseller. It's like, just before you die, that creates a little bit of a sense of urgency, I would say.
Well, depending on how long you expect to live, maybe you got plenty of time.
Nobody knows.
It's only 11. Some of these you can bang out on the same trip. I mean,
All right. Yeah, my buddy Travis calls that a bang bang. He'll go for like double meals just because he's in a place for a short amount of time and he wants to try. Yeah, calls it a bang bang.
A bang bang. I don't know. I've probably bang banged before. Yeah, if you don't have a lot of time, you really have to maximize it. So bang banging is a good way to go.
It makes sense. All right, where do you want to kick this one off, man? Is this prioritized based on your favorite, or is this just?
I asked 100 of my closest friends, and this is the results of that survey. Now, these are just things that over the years. So I've been living in Rome for about 15 years now. For both work, as we've opened up all across Europe, but also just for fun, have traveled all over Europe. And these are just kind of a collection of some of my favorite items and things that, like, when I first tried it, I was like, wow, this is something this is something you have to try if you're in London. So we're going to start in London and travel out from there. So the first thing on my list is the Scotch egg. Have you had that before, Jason?
I love eggs. I mean, that sounds familiar, but I don't know that I've had it, actually.
So a Scotch egg, I'll tell you what it is. It's a soft-boiled egg wrapped in like a sausage meat, rolled in breadcrumbs and fried. So you've got this like exterior crust, because of the breadcrumbs. Then just under that is the layer of the pork meat. And then inside there, you've got the egg. And not only that, it's soft boiled. So it's got a little bit of, a soft yolk. And they're about, I don't know how big, what I'd compare it to. I've got actually a kiwi right here. It's probably like a little larger than a kiwi. And just delicious and interesting. And because of all these multi layers, most people love fried things. Definitely kind of quintessential street food, something you can grab and go. Um, and the place that invented it, well, okay, the place that invented it is called Fordham and Mason. It's still in London, and you can still go there and get one. There, that's kind of a more high end one. I think that's about £11, which is close to $15. So apparently, it was invented in 1738 as a travel snack for people taking like bus journeys, something you could kind of wrap up in a napkin and take with you on your trip. I'm sorry, not bus journeys. I don't think buses 1738. No, the bus wasn't around then. For people going on trips.
Yeah, like on a carriage or
eh,
whatever. Yeah, people
yeah,
that were.
like their
Yeah,
carriage. Yeah, I would have had. You would have had a lot of commenters
it's the morning
questioning.
for you. I'm not sure if you've had
Yeah,
your
exactly.
espresso yet.
I did, but I should have had two by now. So anyway, really good. The place I was going to say, so you've got the Borough Market in London, which is this sprawling, chaotic, incredible market that's, goes back, I think originally like 1,000 years was the original Borough Market. And it's quite a destination, definitely worth checking out. And there's this very famous butcher called the Ginger Pig, and they make incredible sausage rolls. They have the classic, they have one with chorizo instead of regular sausage. They also have Scotch eggs. They also have amazing sausage rolls. But, and that place has a line, it's, as soon as you get there, you're in a spot that's loved locally as well as by tourists, because there's always a line outside. And at the Ginger Pig, you can get an incredible Scotch egg. So that's number one on the list. And this order is not, we're just going kind of randomly here. I wouldn't say the Scotch egg is my favorite out of these 11, but that's where I decided to start.
Yeah, I mean, I love eggs, so you had me at egg, man.
If you love
know
eggs, I had you at egg.
I'm just going to throw a little loop here. I didn't mention this, but I thought, well, I know you're a movie buff, a bit of a music buff. You're a buff all around. You're buff. I thought maybe we could pair this with a film or something, just for fun. Just to kind of shake things up. If you don't mind, I'm going to pair this one. Is that okay?
Okay, I'll let you take.
Yeah, I want to pair this one with Austin Powers, the original Austin Powers. It's just such a great movie. I have seen it probably 40 times, maybe more. I was doing a tour for a while where we were going to different college campuses and setting out an outdoor movie theater. This is when I was like 20 or my early 20s. And the film we showed was Austin Powers. And so I've, subconsciously and consciously seen that movie many, many times. And just so many great jokes in that film. So anyway.
All of Michael Myers' movies, it's just a joke parade. I mean, one after, but but Austin Powers, man, I haven't seen that in a long time. But that is a great pairing. So, what I want the listeners at home, make some Scotch eggs, and sit down on the couch and enjoy it with a viewing of Austin Powers.
Yeah, I mean, just for fun. We can throw things in there. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Okay. Number 2.
Okay, so we're going to stay with kind of fried, roundish things, and we're going to go from London down to Barcelona.
Oh, okay. Whoa! I was sweating. I thought you were going to say Rocky Mountain oysters. I didn't want to eat it. I didn't want that to be on the list.
Yeah, unfortunately that made the cut. It didn't make the cut. All right, so we're going to have a bomba. The bomba from Barceloneta, and this is mashed potatoes filled with like a spicy beef kind of ragu. It's fried, crisp, and then it's topped with a garlicky aioli sauce, the same sauce you have with patatas bravas, if you know that popular tapa that you find in Spain. And so again, kind of sticking with fried, sticking more or less with a ball. And there's just something great about biting in. That first layer is, mashed potatoes. Then you've got this spicy meat center. the aioli sauce, which is like a creamy garlic sauce on top. And usually they also put a little bit of like a chili sauce on top of that. Is wonderful. And it's a bomb. I mean, it is kind of a bomb. You have one of these guys. This is like the size of a softball. So we're much bigger than the Scotch egg. And it's delicious. So that is something that was invented in Barcelona. They say it was created during the Spanish Civil War, and it's at a lot of bars. It's something that you find at a lot of bars. La bomba means little bomb. And there's a place actually we go to on our tour there, Periquete, and it's a cool place. You've got the jamons hanging from the ceiling, and they make a mean bomba, I must say.
I love that. Okay. We'll get back to the interview in just a moment. I know you love earning travel rewards and cash back, and that's why you're going to love Rakuten. With Rakuten, you can earn cash back on everything you need to book your dream trip, hotels, flights, rental cars, experiences, and more, while still booking through your favorite travel sites. And don't worry, cash back can be earned on top of earning the credit card points and the hotel and airline loyalty points that matter most to you, depending on how you make your booking. Plus, with Rakuten, you can also earn cash back on groceries and other purchases like electronics, pet supplies, and more. And the best part, you can join today for free and start earning cash back on top of your travel rewards. Go to Rakuten.com or get the app. That's Rakuten, Rakuten. Rakuten, the most rewarding way to shop.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire. The empty seat. Who was actually just that, an empty chair in your office because you couldn't find someone to fill it. So it just sat there costing you money with all its fancy ergonomic features. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can make it easy to fill that seat with the right candidate. With nearly 60% of businesses finding someone to interview in the first week alone. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
Now, back to the show. It's crazy how just talking about food, I mean, I don't know where everybody is that's listening right now, but, and this isn't exaggerating, this isn't hyperbole. I'm not like, oh, my mouth is water. Like, my mouth is literally, my stomach is starting to sort of like get into the growl mode because I just had oatmeal early this morning. I'm getting a little hungry. I'm like a hobbit. I usually have 2 breakfasts, and my egg breakfast is coming up soon. But it's just crazy how talking about food actually provokes a reaction in your physical body. Anyway, so
let's
I'm
talk
sure
about the pairing. I got one.
Oh yeah,
this
okay,
is one of my favorite
flamenco. No,
one of my favorite Woody Allen films. Definitely doesn't isn't considered one of his all-time best, but I just loved it. Vicky and Christina in Barcelona.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
No, I've heard about
by
that.
Your reaction, you haven't. A very young Scarlett Johansson. That was probably out in like 2000, I want to say 6, 7. And these 2 American girls traveling to Barcelona, they meet Javier Bardem, and it's a great movie. So, you can make a bomba at home and enjoy it with a viewing of Vicky and Christina in Barcelona. Very funny movie.
Vicky, Christina, Barcelona. Okay. Adding it to the list. Number 3.
Okay. Number 3, we're going to go to Paris. We're going to have a croque monsieur. Have you had one of those?
Yes, I believe so. Is it involve bread and cheese fried?
It does. It involves both of those things. So it's a toasted sandwich layered with ham, Gruyere cheese.
Yes.
Smothered in a creamy bechamel.
Yeah, those are good.
And baked until it's so it's not actually fried, unlike the first 2 items. It's baked, but because of the cheese, it kind of has a bubbly, almost crispy golden top.
Have you made one of those at home?
I actually haven't.
No.
I did go through a phase because my son was following this guy who just does grilled cheeses.
Oh yeah. Okay.
and I was learning all about the perfect cheese pool.
Oh.
And so we went through like a month of doing grilled cheeses every day, pretty much.
Mm.
But no, we never tried the croque monsieur. But that's something.
Do you
That's some good
use a
inspiration. We
cast
need to
iron
do that.
pan for your grilled cheeses?
Yeah, so I do absolutely.
Yeah.
How
Okay.
about are you doing grilled cheeses at home or?
Well, my kids eat a lot of grilled cheese, but it's a different kind of. It's a Norwegian grilled
Oh,
cheese in a
right. You
way.
guys have that Norwegian cheese, but that doesn't melt, does it? That brown
Yeah.
cheese?
Well, yes. Lately, we have this something called polar bread. It's like a round bread, and I don't know how to describe it, but then we'll put butter on both sides and put the cheese on top. My son loves it. I flip it over and then I just grill the cheese so it becomes like brown and sort of hard on top. But I like to make a traditional American grilled cheese, butter on the outsides and that sort of thing. And we made one last weekend. We had a fire and had some friends in town. Our Jason Law and his wife were in town, and she's a vegetarian, and we were going to grill some hot dogs, so I decided to make her a grilled cheese sandwich. And we'll wrap it up in tinfoil and just throw it in the fire.
Wow.
Yeah, just that's what we pack
How did
our
it come
kids.
out? I've never done that.
It comes out good. It's different than in the pan, but solid.
Yeah. I mean, what's great in the pan, like you said, the butter on both sides. You get that beautiful crisp on each side, you know. So the place I'd recommend to try it, I mean, this is something you can find in bars and cafes all over Paris. But there's this kind of newish, I think it opened maybe 7 or 8 years ago, place, kind of a couple young guys called Frick Frack. And they've got all these funky versions with truffles um, and even like their classic one. I don't know exactly what they're doing differently, but it just tastes so good. So they've got a couple locations, one in Montmartre, and so I like how they're kind of reinventing or reimagining the croque monsieur.
Okay.
And in terms of a movie pairing, you want to take this one? Or?
Man, this one's tough.
Let me think as well.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be French. I mean, we can go music or book as well. I mean, or something else. We're not limited.
Trying to think of a movie that featured a good grilled cheese sandwich.
We might have to earmark that. We might have to get a recommendation from the audience here.
Well,
we didn't
we
didn't set ourselves up for success with this pairing, did we?
Yeah.
Think
there wasn't any advance warning.
I feel like one of those Bourne movies, they must have done some kind of chase scene in France at some point, right? Like one of those Bourne Identity movies. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say they did, and that this is the kind of sandwich you might grab off somebody's plate while you're running a moped through a small alley so you can get something to eat, while you're being chased by assassins, something like that.
I'm going to throw one more, give people two options, something a little lighter and comical. What it reminded me of, there's a scene in the movie Spanglish starring Adam Sandler. Have you ever seen that one?
No, but I'm an Adam Sandler guy. Some people hate him. I like him.
I don't know who hates him. I mean,
my buddy Jason I just talked about. He doesn't need any Sandler in his life, he said. It's a direct quote.
Wow. Jeez. I'd like to have a word with Jason. I mean, he's a guy, he's made who knows how many movies now. So not all of them are great. A lot of them are stupid, but I mean, you put his greatest hits together. Anyway, so the movie I'm talking about is Spanglish, and in it, he plays a chef, and he makes this kind of soft, back to the eggs, which I now know you love. He makes this like fried egg sandwich in the toaster oven and cuts into it, and like the yolk spreads everywhere. It's one of like the greatest food scenes in a movie. And so while the croque monsieur doesn't have an egg, its cousin, the croque madame, is the same thing, but with an egg on top. And even though this is it's Spanglish, he's there's a whole his housekeeper, nanny is Spanish, so it's got nothing to do with France or French. But just because of the egg sandwich, I'm going to pair it with Spanglish.
Okay, I like
So it's
that.
a little bit of a convoluted way to get there, but I think it makes a superb pairing.
I like it. Before we move on, just inspired by this idea of making these things at home and having that cultural experience, and whether you're doing it alone or with your significant other or with your kids, it's also good shit. Like you could read about the history of it. You could maybe read about where it came from, look on the map. It's just kind of a cool way to do a little bit of like armchair traveling, I'd say. And it's interesting because I just looked up the croque monsieur, and when you look up recipes, it usually will typically say like how long it takes to make. And I mean, I find this one here, it's like 20 to 40 minutes. I'm like, there's something, I know it sounds like a crazy long time to make a sandwich, right? You're thinking like, well, I'm just making a sandwich. I'm going to spend 40 minutes making a sandwich. But there is something about slowing down and spending that much time just making a sandwich. For something about that sounds relaxing to me. You get in that mode when you're
definitely.
cooking, you can kind of.
I feel like everything. I mean, you're not making anything. I mean, anything for under 20 minutes. In under 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Maybe 40 minutes was thinking the high end of that sounds, because you're putting it in the oven, all this stuff.
But like for me, like when either I'm just grabbing something out of the fridge, but if I'm going to make something, I'm prepared. That's kind of at a minimum. You're looking at a half hour, maybe 40 minutes. And that, to your point, is what I love about it. Like you're just kind of getting in the kitchen, pulling out your ingredients. Maybe you got some good music playing and you're just focused on that. And, it's not about, trying to get food in your stomach as quick as possible, but create something tasty, maybe using some creativity, etc. So yeah, definitely love those moments of slowing down in the kitchen and just getting lost in whatever you're making.
Love that. All right, we're on number 4 here.
Okay, so I'm mentioning this one after the croque monsieur because this was inspired by the croque monsieur. We're going to travel south to Porto, Portugal. Have you had the pleasure of visiting Porto?
Not Porto, but I've been to Portugal a couple times. I've heard great things about Porto.
Yeah, really pretty city.
No, bit of a nomad hotspot in some ways right now.
Well, yeah. Lisbon has become for years kind of digital nomad spot. And Porto is about a 3-hour train ride away. And there they have this sandwich, and I think I'm pronouncing it right, francesinha. And this was inspired by the croque monsieur. In fact, it means little Frenchy because a Portuguese immigrant tried a croque monsieur, as the story goes, came back inspired by this delicious sandwich, which he had in France, and wanted to kind of come up with something of his own. So what it is, it's layers of ham and steak. On top of that, you've got melted cheese. It's ham and steak in bread. So it's a sandwich, melted cheese on top, then a fried egg on top of that. And then on top of that is a spicy beer and tomato sauce, like a gravy.
Oh, wow.
So like your plate is swimming.
Sounds like the Portuguese Permani brothers or something.
Yeah, a little bit. Certainly in terms of calories and just how full you'll be, like a Permani brothers. What would you call it? Sandwich. Yeah, it's a big undertaking, but very much worth it. And yeah, it's one of these things that, I mean, you can hear with all the layers and the ingredients, it's pretty unique. You have it and you're like, wow, I've never really had anything like this before. And I guess you could kind of call it a comfort food. It's certainly something that would be better enjoyed on a cold day than in the middle of summer. And Yeah, really delicious. You're not picking it up with your hands. This is obviously a knife and fork experience. And Anthony Bourdain on his show, that was one of the things he had when he visited Porto on
Yeah.
Parts Unknown.
Okay. Yeah, that's helpful to know. People could probably Google that if they want to see what it looks like and
Yeah.
watch somebody eat it.
Bourdain called it a monument to excess.
A monument to excess. Nice.
Yeah, he had a way with words.
Kind of like Las Vegas.
Yeah, very much. The Frank Quinquina is the Las Vegas of
sandwiches.
for sure.
All right, I've got a pairing for this one because I've been surfing in Portugal, and I feel like I always think of the coast and the surfing scene and things like that, just because I've had some of those experiences there. And so I'm thinking a viewing of Endless Summer and or Point Break.
Oh wow,
the classic Point Break with Keanu
Good old
Reeves and
Bodie.
Patrick Swayze.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, absolutely. Johnny Utah and Bodie.
Yeah. And it also sounds like the kind of sandwich you would eat after you're really hungry after you're surfing. You're burning a lot of calories,
man,
So you could come in
yeah.
from surfing and you could just get one of these.
I love that. I mean, talk about a great day. Go for a morning surf, come back, have a Francisquina, throw on some Point Break or Endless Summer. I mean, that's one of the best days of the year right there. I mean,
There you go. Okay.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Welcome to the final chapter of our special 3-part mini-series, Best in Travel Tech, where I share recommendations that can enhance your trip. And today, well, I saved one of the most important topics for last. We're talking about money for the most part. I mean, I will have a couple bonus recommendations, but I want to focus on money, pre-trip saving, on-trip spending, and post-trip ideas to set yourself up financially for your next trip. Because if I know anything about listeners here in this community, it's that we're always gearing up for the next trip. Now, before we get into all that, you can't access any of these recommendations or do anything on your phone for that matter in another country unless you have data and or internet. That's why I'm so excited that this entire series was made possible by my number one no-brainer travel tech recommendation, Olafly, who is sponsoring this segment. And here's why I love this, because as a traveler, you need reliable internet, you need data, and if you want the absolute easiest and best solution, you need to get an eSIM card from Olafly. An eSIM is a digital version of a physical SIM card. It's already integrated into your device, whether it's a cell phone, tablet, or smartwatch. Now, Olafly offers a variety of eSIM products, but I encourage you to check out Olafly Plans. It's their global monthly eSIM subscription that allows travelers to stay connected globally in over 160 countries with just one eSIM installation. It eliminates the need for swapping out SIM cards or worrying about running out of data, depending on the plans you choose. With Olafly Plans, you can stay connected globally with just one eSIM. It's perfect for digital nomads, expats, remote workers, and really any traveler spending time abroad. No more hunting around for Wi-Fi when you get there. No more scrambling for a local SIM card or wondering if you actually got a good deal. No more worrying about those insane roaming charges. No more hassle, really. Just fast and reliable internet as soon as you arrive. And the folks at Olafly have been kind enough to give a discount to listeners of this podcast. That is you. I'll put that in the show notes, but you just need to go to esim.olafly.com/plans. That's HOLAFLY. They have 2 great plans to choose from. So really pick the one that works the best for you. If you go with the light plan, you'll get 25 gigs of data. You get hotspot availability, global connection, of course, and you can cancel anytime. And with the unlimited plan, you get unlimited data, unlimited hotspot, global connection, and you can cancel anytime. And you also get a local number to receive SMS, which is really cool. Notice you get hotspot capabilities with both of these plans. That is huge. Now, if you go monthly, you'll get a 10% discount with the code ZERO2TRAVEL. So don't forget to plug that code in, ZERO2TRAVEL, all caps, all one word. And if you go annual, it includes a built-in 22% discount plus an extra 10% with that promo code ZERO2TRAVEL. Both of these plans offer the easiest way to stay connected abroad. You'll have one simple plan, one eSIM, and total freedom to stay connected in 160 countries globally by getting an eSIM from Olafly. Thanks to Olafly for supporting this show and this segment. Now, let's talk money tech recommendations. I say tech because a lot of these are online based entities, but they can, of course, help you monetarily in the real world. And I broke this down into 3 different categories because I thought, well, what are some of the things you might want to use pre-trip right now? Maybe you're listening to this, you're sitting at home, you're gearing up for a trip. We all need money to travel, of course. And if you've been struggling to either find that money or just sort of figure it out, there are a lot of great budgeting apps out there. I have used some of them in the past. I'm not supporting anyone. You have to do your own research, but I will give you some examples. There's Mint, there's a YNAB, You Need a Budget. These types of online budgeting apps that allow you to sort of automate some of your budgeting, and you can customize some things. I mean, they can be very useful for some people that are really struggling with kind of figuring out the monetary side of saving up for a trip. So if you haven't done that, or you're perhaps considering this, but you just haven't gotten around to it, use this as an excuse and use travel as your motivation. If you're here listening to this, you love travel. What better way? Because listen, I'm not a super fan of sitting down and looking at a bunch of spreadsheets and figuring out my finances and blah, blah, blah. That stuff's not always very exciting. But when we keep in mind the ultimate goal, and you use something that really motivates you, like a particular trip, a bucket list trip, let's say, or just travel in general, something you know you love to do, and this is going to help you do that, it could be the motivation you need. Now, with this next one and all of these recommendations here, I'm not a lawyer. You have to do your own due diligence. This isn't financial advice, all that good stuff. And I'm saying this because I'm about to give you a recommendation for an investment app I have not used, but my mom's used it. And I just like the concept of it. And I've thought about using it before, but I think because I am based overseas now, I'm not sure if I can. Anyway, and I'm not sure if you've heard of Acorns, ACORNS.com. This is an interesting app. I think it's been around so long because it's very simple. It invests money for you by just rounding up. So let's say you link a card, and let's say you spend $4.29 at the grocery store for whatever, a cold drink and a candy bar, whatever. It will round up to $5 and invest those extra cents into some type of investment vehicle. And they have different ones. And again, that's why I brought up the sort of disclaimer, because you have to do your own research. But that idea of just that taking cents out of a purchase and rounding up is just an easy way to kind of invest money that you won't really miss, that over time can grow. So if you are somebody who has struggled with, saving up in that way, something like that could be a solution. Of course, you can also automatically set up like an automatic savings at your bank, for example. Basically, any type of tool that helps to automate savings can be useful. And I know I have some automatic savings going into investment accounts and things like that. And I just do it that way because if I have to manually do it, it's kind of hard to part with that money each month. But if it just happens and I don't see it, I don't think about it, then it goes there and I don't think about it. So anyway, that might be helpful for some people. I thought that was worth sharing. Okay, let's get on the trip now. I crowdsourced some of this stuff from the team members here at Zero to Travel. And I asked, hey, what apps, maybe I've heard them on the show doing their remote roundup. They're nomads, Caitlin and Janessa, and they're nomadic right now and traveling all the time, just living on the road. And so I said, hey, what are the most useful apps that you use in terms of financial and money? And they gave me a couple. One was Trabee Pocket. I'd never heard of this, Trabee Pocket. It's a budget tracker app for travel. And they have free and paid versions. And I believe it was Janessa. She said she's tracked every expense for the last 2.5 years on this app. So she loves it. It's apparently very useful. So if you need help budgeting on the road, Trabee Pocket might be something. Splitwise was another one they shared. That's for sharing expenses with friends on trips. Again, there's both free and paid versions. That can always be annoying, trying to figure out who owes what and everything like that. So Splitwise apparently makes it easy. And those were the two big ones I got from them. Now, I have used for many years banking with Wise.com, formerly TransferWise. They changed their name a while ago. I mean, Wise has been so helpful for me with my business banking. You can have accounts in different currencies. Very easy to move money around. They have pretty low fees. And I've generally loved having this Wise account because I can have a USD account. It makes getting payments much easier being based overseas. There's just so many advantages to it. If you're working remotely or you're going to spend time abroad, I really do encourage you to check out wise.com for banking. And let's talk about not losing money. I do think it's important to have some type of VPN. You can do your own research based on which ones. I've used several different ones over the years. I've used TunnelBear. I've used NordVPN. Yeah, so you don't lose money to hackers. You got to stay protected, right? And you are taking a risk if you're going out there with your laptop and you're at a cafe and it's just open Wi-Fi and you're on the net, and we all think and feel like that's safe. And I've been guilty of, doing that same thing and not protecting myself. And you really need to be protected so you don't lose any money. And a little bonus recommendation here, not exactly related to travel, but another one my team recommended was Libby for library ebooks. They're free, but you do have to have a library card. So if you've never used Libby before, I have the app. You do have to have the library card, like I said, but you can get ebooks for free there. And let's talk post-trip now. You are trying to figure out, well, what about the next trip? What are some things I can do to make my travel dreams possible, to make the monetary side of things more affordable? There are a lot of different directions to go here, but I'm going to highlight just a couple things. So I'm going to lean into home exchanges. If you have a home or an apartment, if you haven't considered a home exchange, that could be a way to go. And a lot of these sites now, like Home Exchange, and I believe Kindred is one. There are several out there. They can allow you to basically let somebody else borrow your home, and you don't have to exactly exchange on those exact dates. That was always the sort of misconception that I had, and maybe it used to be a bit more like that, where, okay, well, we have to, find the exact people, our dates have to match up, everything has to be perfect. But actually, a lot of these sites are structured where if you loan out your home to somebody, let's say you go on a week-long staycation, and you say, you know what, we're on this exchange platform, we're going to just lend out our home for a week. Many of them have this point system or some variation of it where you just get credit for that stay, and then you can use that credit to stay at somebody else's house, effectively eliminating the cost of accommodations. And I'm bringing this up as one specific example of a broader concept I want to share before I let you go. And that's just that idea of leveraging what you have right now for more travel with the sharing economy that is possible. I mean, you can rent out your car, you can do the home exchange thing, you could be a house sitter. There are many different directions you can go. And I'm always hearing about these resources from various guests, and everybody has to do what fits with their lifestyle. But I think that the idea of taking a look around and saying, what are some things I have now? And how can I turn those things, or skills even, into cash that I can use for travel, or, some kind of asset that I can use to help me travel, like in the home exchange example. So just like more of a mindset thing, really. I did share a couple specific tech recommendations there, but it is a broader mindset concept. And I think that that's a good place to start when you're trying to figure out, hey, how are we going to afford travel? What I wanted to do here in this segment as we wrap up this series, which has been super fun to record, by the way, for you, is to just give you some food for thought on, pre-trip saving, on-trip saving and spending and sort of monitoring, and then, some ideas for post-trip gearing up for the next trip thing. So I hope I was able to do that for you. And thank you for listening to this final chapter of this 3-part mini-series, Best in Travel Tech. The other 2 parts were published in episodes the last couple months. You can find them in the feed. And one last shout out to our sponsor for this special series, Olafly. Go to that esim.olafly.com/plans. Find those Olafly plans and stay connected in 160 plus countries with just one eSIM. It's perfect for travelers. Don't forget to use that discount code ZERO2TRAVEL, all one word. You'll get 10% off the monthly or an extra 10% off the annual, which are both incredible deals. One simple plan, one eSIM. Total freedom. Stay connected in 160 countries, getting an eSIM from Olafly. And I don't think you can go wrong with the light plan or the unlimited plan. They're both great. So pick the one that works for you. And don't forget that promo code ZERO2TRAVEL. Thanks to them. And thank you for tuning into this series. Now, let's get back to the interview. Moving on,
we're going to head from Porto to Florence, Italy. And this next item is one of the most popular street foods in Florence. It's called lampredotto. And lampredotto is tripe, which is one of the walls of the cow's stomach, the forestomach, to be specific. So it's tender, ripe tripe. It's simmered for hours in kind of a tomato and herb broth, and then it's served in a crispy roll that's dipped in that same broth, and it's topped with a green sauce, which is made from garlic and parsley, maybe a little basil. And it's one of these things. So we actually do this on one of our Florence tours. And you say it's cow stomach. And of course, a lot of people are like, no, that's not for me. If you don't mention that and you say, I just want you to try this sandwich and it's going to blow your mind because it's so good. People naturally try it. They're like, oh my God, this is amazing. What is it? And then you have the big reveal and they can't believe that they liked tripe or cow stomach as much as they do.
I didn't know tripe was cow stomach. Okay.
Yeah. You look at it, what would I compare it to? I mean, it's got when you see it at the butcher, it's not something that looks all that appealing. But they pull out this big piece of tripe out of the big pot of the broth. And then they'll cut it up real fine, add that to the sandwich, put the green sauce on top, dip the roll in the gravy, in the broth, and it is really, really good. I would, be adventurous, give it a try. That's not something you'd probably make at home. You might even have a hard time finding tripe, depending on where you live. But if you are in Florence, and it's really something, a lot of things these days, it could be, Napolitano pizza you can find in most cities in Italy, for example, things like that. But lampredotto you only really find in Florence. So you have to travel there to get a taste of it.
Okay.
What would we pair this with?
I have an idea. I was thinking, I'm not sure if this takes place there, but, the Dan Brown books, The Da Vinci Code, he's got one called Inferno or something. They're always running around iconic Italian places. So,
yeah.
Pick, I don't know, the Da Vinci Code book, movie. I feel like that one of those Dan Brown things could be.
Yeah, Angels and Demons, or the first one, the Da Vinci Code. Yeah,
you got a pretty heavy meal in front of you. It sounds like, so a little bit of light fare in terms of the pop culture.
Yeah, I like that
to balance it out.
And also any of the Bourne movies can be slotted in as
Back to Bourne.
Surefire pairing.
I'll always go back to Bourne. Great name, by the way, Jason.
Yeah,
great name for that character. Sorry,
definitely. Yeah, before Bourne, there weren't too many international undercover adventure kind of Jasons out there. It was really just the psychopaths.
Yeah. It was always just the hockey mask and Jason, the guy with the hockey mask who's going to murder you. It's like, thankfully we got Jason Bourne now to add to the Jason pool.
Absolutely. Kind of rounds things out a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to head to somewhere much closer to your current home. We're going to go to Copenhagen. and we're going to try one of their famous open-faced rye bread sandwiches. I believe it's pronounced smørbrød, but I might defer to you.
Smørbrød, yeah, but it's probably
Yeah.
different in Danish, yeah.
And these are, these beautiful works of art. I mean, actually, after visiting you last year, I went to Copenhagen, and yeah, I mean, so much of the food there, in particular, these open faced sandwiches, are so beautiful because they put little flowers on top and other things. They really like the presentation is taken to like another level. I mean, this is quite a contrast, like with the franceschina, which is just this like mound of gravy and egg and all this stuff, and then you have one of these, which is this beautiful piece of rye bread, usually salmon or some other kind of fish on top, some dotted with some flowers, and
Very
obviously
Scandinavian
great
Zen type of
yeah,
sandwich,
very
right?
Scandinavian sim. What is the Danish word for like hominess?
Yeah, hegi.
Heggy. Yeah.
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 A lot of heggy packed in one of these sandwiches. Um, so there's a market there, which is anyone who goes to Copenhagen, I think probably makes their way to the Tovo Harlene market, which has all kinds of beautiful and delicious um, market foods at the market stalls, and there you can have some um, wonderful smørbrød. I think the place is called Hallernes, and yeah, definitely worth trying. A little lighter than some of the sandwiches we've been talking about. I think probably a little healthier, less caloric intake. So yeah, that would be my next recommendation. Plus, I love Copenhagen. Such a cool city.
Sure. Yeah, they've got, I mean, if anyone wants to go crazy, just with these, we're more than halfway through now, just with these 6 recommendations. I mean, you got various breakfasts and lunches lined up for the next week. I have the perfect pairing for this, by the way. You're going to love this.
Okay.
Season 7, episode 11 of Seinfeld, The Rye. There's the rye bread episode.
Is it literally season 7, episode 11?
Yes, I looked it up.
Oh my
I don't have a Rain
I
Man.
thought you knew it by.
No, I don't have a Rain Man like.
I remember
ability.
that. Isn't the rye gets raised into a window or something?
Yeah, they're fishing
Yeah.
for it, and it's a whole thing. Anyway,
Great pairing.
yeah,
Well done.
had to go with that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll get back to the interview in just a moment.
Refreshing wild cherry cola meets smooth cream. The treat you deserve. Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream. Treat yourself.
Now, back to the show. All right, we're coming in sort of into the home stretch. I mean, not
Yeah,
totally,
we are.
but
I'm a little sad. But the other thing I want to shout out is the bread, the rye bread in Denmark, or Copenhagen in particular, is just so good. Okay, I'm going to bring it home, and by home I mean Rome, where I live, and I'm going to recommend that everyone at some point in their life try a carciofo alla giudea, which is a Jewish style artichoke. And so here in Rome, we've got these massive artichokes. Kind of early spring is the season. They're called globe artichokes, and they're really big. Again, like the flower is probably the size of a softball. And what they do, there's a few different ways to prepare it, but one of the most popular ways is you peel off all the hard, fibrous outer leaves. You soak it in lemon water, and you actually fry it twice. The first time is kind of to just soften things, to really cook it, and it's just salt and pepper. There's nothing else you have to do to it. And then you fry it again, typically right before you serve it, and that's to crisp up all the leaves. And if it just came out, you can hear it kind of crackling as they serve it to you at the restaurant. And you even eat the stem, which is one of my favorite parts. looks really pretty. It's delicious. It's very different. Most, for the Americans listening, you're used to just eating the outer leaves with artichokes and kind of maybe dipping it in a sauce or something, or sucking out the inside. So this is, you're eating the whole thing with a knife and fork. So a very different way to experience an artichoke. And when it's done well, it is really good. And one of my favorite places is called Da Enzo al 29, Da Enzo 29. And they just make absolutely delicious Jewish style artichokes.
Wow, never heard of that. Okay, I have no pairing for this, by the way. I can't even.
Oh man,
How about Gladiator? It's, classic Roman. I mean, you could imagine kind of kicking back, somebody's feeding you artichoke, as you're the emperor or the empress laying down like the grapes and that sort of vibe. I don't know. Let's roll with it.
I just was at I started on a plane, the second one, but the plane landed with like 20 minutes left. So
no, that's a disaster.
It was pretty good. Yeah.
Did you tell them to keep circling the city so you could finish the film?
No, but I was definitely the last one on the plane, because everyone's after a 10-hour flight, can't wait to get off. I'm still there with my headphones connected, sir, you've got to board, the cleaning crew is coming on. And so I didn't get to see it's with Denzel, really good. If you win the crowd, I forget what the quote from the first one, you win the match or something. Anyway, so we're going to pair that great call with the first Gladiator with Maximus, Russell Crowe. All right, so let's go now to Amsterdam, one of my favorite cities in Europe. I'm assuming you've been, have you, Jason?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Actually, I think you may have done a workshop there a couple years back.
I did. That was outside of
Amsterdam,
but the only one and only time I went to Amsterdam was in my first backpacking trip, and early 20s.
Yeah, that was my first stop outside Europe too.
Plenty of shenanigans,
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of shenanigans. Moon pies or moon cake, space cakes. That was literally my first time outside of, I'd been to Mexico, but never been outside of North America. Landed in Amsterdam at age 20 and had an amazing time. So something famous in Amsterdam, or in the Netherlands more generally, is herring. So, small fish. And every summer in June, they have what they call kind of the new herring. So it's the new crop. Basically it's, cured in salt, and you eat it. It's almost like Dutch sushi. And you can either have it, they'll cut it up. I mean, they're like this big, which is maybe the size of a dollar bill. They'll cut it up, put a toothpick in it with a Dutch flag, with pickles and onions. And that's a great way to have it. And in one bite, you've got your pickle, you've got, which gives the sour taste, onion, and then the saltiness and the freshness of the fish. Or the kind of the fun way to do it is you pick up the whole thing and you just open your mouth, hold it by the tail, and just eat the entire thing, but the tail.
That's like Tom and Jerry style or whatever.
Yeah, that's what Tom would do.
This isn't my herring and that fishy fish. Fishy fish isn't my thing. I want it to be. I would love for it to be. I like strong flavors in general, but I can't do strong fish flavors. Just not.
Because I was going to recommend a bang bang of fishy fish, and you do maybe herring and kibling, which is
I'm all ready to
move
on to the next one. But I don't want to rush it. I don't want to be selfish. The fish fans out there.
We're going to pair this with the 80s, I would say classic. I think it even won some awards. A Fish Called Wanda. I don't know if you
Okay.
saw that. Kevin Kline, Jamie Lee Curtis. Very funny movie from probably the late 80s, A
Yeah.
Fish Called Wanda.
Yeah, that's a
And I
classic.
haven't seen it since the 80s, but I bet it holds up. Really good
No.
movie.
See, I was going to say Big
Um,
Fish, the Tim Burton film, because
Big Fish
you could pair Big
is,
Fish with a Little Fish, or you could just listen to a Fish concert.
yeah,
Phish.
any of those three things with
That'll
some
work too.
with some cured herring.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. So we're staying with fish, but it's less fishy, I'd say. We're going to go down to Lisbon, and we're going to have, so in Portugal, it's all about bacalhau, which is codfish, which actually doesn't come from the seas by Portugal, but actually up north. But they eat it. I mean, you've got the, anchovies and bacalhau. And I mean, that's such a big part of Portuguese cuisine. So this is salted cod, sauteed with onions, crispy potatoes, and eggs until it's kind of soft and creamy. So it's like one thing. And then, and then it's kind of cooked so the outside's a bit golden. And I would, similar to the Franceschina, I would call this kind of a comfort food. Really, really good. Not, because of the potatoes and the egg, it kind of mutes a little bit of the fish taste. So you might even enjoy this, Jason.
Yeah.
Maybe
No,
not
I like
as
cod.
your
I like
top one
cod.
on the list, but this might, make the cut for you. And there's a place I absolutely love, Taskina do Fado. One of the things to do in Lisbon is to listen to fado music, which are these powerful, these singers singing these in Portuguese, kind of these heartbreaking power love ballads, let's call that. No musical accompaniment, them just singing. And this place has fado, but they also have a Michelin star chef, Jose, and he makes this dish so well. And I would highly recommend Tasquina do Fado.
Okay, we're going to have to get the written lists from you to put out with this so we know with all the foreign language terms and everything.
Right. So what should we pair this with?
Well, I think you said it. We just got to pair it with the fado. It's already there.
Right.
It's paired. It's a natural pair.
It's paired. It's as natural as it gets. Absolutely.
Yes.
It did all the work for us. Okay, so we're going to leave fish behind, and the last two are meat. So this isn't for vegetarians like Jason, the other Jason's wife. But for the meat eaters out there, I've got two good ones for you. The first one is in Athens, Greece. And, you can't leave Greece without having Slouvaki, which means little skewer. So it's charcoal grilled skewers of pork or chicken and served in a warm pita with typically fries, tomatoes, sometimes cucumber, tzatziki sauce, the creamy cucumber sauce. So a little different than your gyro, or as a lot of Americans say, gyro. That is, the meat on the skewer, often lamb, shaved, and then kind of piled up also in a pita, where this is skewers cooked not on like a rotating spit, but in charcoal. But the toppings are the same and also served in a pita. They say it's the world's oldest street food, goes back 3,000 years, where archaeologists found Slouvaki-style skewers, remnants, proof that the ancient Greeks loved their barbecue. Places in Teca. In Teca still does it the old-fashioned way, like they have like an old-fashioned charcoal barbecue, and it's delicious. And, it's something you absolutely must have if you're in Greece. And the pita bread there is incredible, the tzatziki sauce. And have you been to Greece?
Yes, but I have not had this dish. I was in Crete on the island of Crete and
Oh, okay.
Tronia.
Okay.
A funny story though, my wife did order a sandwich for our first meal, and she started eating it with a fork and knife, per the Norwegian way, I suppose.
Right.
When you get a big sandwich or a big hamburger, like I'll pick it
Yeah.
up and just
Oh,
eat it.
really? People will eat a hamburger with a knife and
Yeah.
fork in
Yes,
Norway?
they
Oh
will
my
sometimes.
God.
But anyway, our waiter, he didn't like that. He just didn't agree. So he just basically ripped the fork and knife out of her hand, waggled the finger at her, and made her eat
The
it
old
with her
finger
hand,
waggle.
with her hands. And part of me was like, hey, if my wife wants to eat, but the other part of me was like, yeah, you got to eat a sandwich with your hands. Come on. But, the American part of me was, I was very torn. It was a moral dilemma, Kenny.
Well, I think,
it was
you
a pretty funny
agreed with-
moment, though. He wasn't cruel. It was
Absolutely.
just like, who are you? Like, what do you mean? He's going to tell, we just got there.
Yeah.
We're just like jet lag. We're like, all right, I guess so. We'll
Oh
just
man,
eat
they
these
take that
sandwiches.
seriously.
It was pretty funny.
So that's a note for the listeners. Don't even think about taking a knife and fork to a sandwich in Greece. I mean,
there you go.
You might have that ripped out of your hand. So I originally was going to pair this with my big fat Greek wedding.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Massive hit, but it just made me think that maybe as an alternate pairing, I don't know. Unlike you, I don't have all the Seinfeld episodes memorized. So I don't know the season or the episode number, but the one where Elaine's boss eats a chocolate bar with a knife and fork. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So that might pair nicely. So maybe have some Slovakia, have a chocolate bar. I can't remember which one he was eating for dessert. And try eating your chocolate bar with a knife and fork. Even try your pita sandwich. Do it like Jason's wife. And who cares? You're at home. Nobody's going to rip that knife and fork out of your hands.
No, there you go. To be clear, I don't rip the knife and fork out of her hand at home.
No, I'm not saying you would,
No.
but the waiter.
Yeah, I know. I'm
joking.
Anyway.
Yeah. In your house, knife and fork, it's optional. You can use it or not. I mean, you're picking up your burger. She's cutting it with I've never seen anyone do that with a hamburger before.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, you were in Norway. We'll have to come back and go to a burger place and you can see it all around you.
I don't remember seeing that. I wish we would have just for that cultural experience. Maybe I would have changed my mind and start doing it that
Depends
way.
on how sloppy the burger is. They're not doing it at McDonald's. I'll tell you that.
I mean, maybe, smash burgers are all the rage now, and they can be a little sloppy. I could see maybe taking a knife and fork to your smash burger. But I don't know. Again, the American in me is like, it's just something just feels wrong. Even if it's sloppy, like you got to deal with it.
I get it.
There's no other way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's end things in the city of Prague.
Okay.
Beautiful city. Have you been to Prague?
Indeed. Yes. Again, on that first backpacking trip, many adventures,
Right.
got lost, could not find my way back to the hostel, which was outside of the city, wandered around till 7 a.m, 8 a.m. People started going to work. Still couldn't figure out how to get home. You could see how smart I was in my early traveling days. And,
but that was the fun back then. No smartphones, no GPS.
You had I didn't know that what happened was, first of all, I didn't pay much attention when I left. I was staying with just a random group of people 20 minutes outside of the city on some river. And apparently, in the middle of the night, all the trams and the buses, some of them switched numbers. And then, so like the number that you took there didn't really exist anymore. And it's all in another language. And it was an all night affair. At some point it was a pretty funny story, but I won't go deep into it. But basically I was wandering around at 7, 8 a.m, still trying to figure out how to get home with this one other guy who we left with. We finally, I think our bus or tram thing started running again with the proper number. And then we were able to figure it out. And we got back there at like 10 o'clock or something. So we were pretty tired.
I'd imagine. Yeah, it makes for a good, certainly a good story.
Getting lost.
I remember that too, staying in Prague on that backpacking trip at like 21 and staying way outside the city in some like dormitories or something, which was a converted hostel. Those were the kind of things he did. I mean, maybe people still do. Um, yeah. So, and that was, I mean, now Prague, you were there probably in the mid 90s as I was. It was so cheap back then. Very different place, having the Soviet Union collapsing just 5 or 6 years before. Now Prague, is more European, certainly more expensive. So good things and bad things. But yeah, I remember that first trip too. So there's a dish there that I absolutely love. It's called svichkova, and it's a slow braised beef, and it's cooked with this vegetable sauce, which is mostly, I think, carrots and other kind of root vegetables. It's served with bread dumplings. So they have this thing in the Czech Republic. I don't even know what I mean, when you think of dumplings, you think of Asian dumplings, right? Like dim sum. These are like it's like this kind of spongy bread, I would say, like a slice of like spongy bread that they call dumplings. And then similar to our Thanksgiving tradition, serve with cranberry sauce, and then also whipped cream, which seems weird. But so like the actual gravy, the vegetable sauce is a little sweet because of the carrots. Then you've got the sweetness of the cranberry sauce. And I mean, the whipped cream, I don't think it's sweetened whipped cream. So that's more just to give that creamy taste and consistency. But it all kind of works really well together. And apparently it's like the go-to dish for weddings and holidays. And I think it's really, really good. Proper filling dish. This isn't like a street food to go. This is like your main meal. There's a place, Cafe Imperial, another one, Cafe Louvre, two historic, beautiful old cafes, like Art Deco. Either of those two places will give you a really good Svitskova. And God, what should we pair this with?
I think Mission Impossible. There was apparently some stuff I can vaguely remember, but I had to look because I thought, yes, this movie, and it turns out, yes, there was some of it was taking place in Prague, and
All right. Okay.
Again, I like
So we're going to move from Bourne to Mission Impossible.
I mean, I feel like, those movies where somebody's, the spy thing, and you're in European cities and it's exotic, and, you got multiple passports and all, it's just like,
can I throw one more, an early kind of,
please.
Early version of that? I don't know if they made it to Prague, but it was a similar kind of running around Europe. Great movie for any of you 80s movies buffs. Gotcha. Starring the guy from Anthony Edwards from not the
Weird
basketball
Science?
player. From Weird Science. He was in
we're really dating
Revenge
ourselves
of the
with
Nerds,
this.
later in ER. He's this college kid and he goes abroad. This is during the Cold War. And on college, they used to play kind of like paintball. And everyone had a gun and you gotcha. And like you get someone. And then suddenly he's in this real spy thing. And great movie. Haven't seen it in absolute ages. I don't know if you can still find it. But go look up Gotcha. Awesome movie of a couple college kids running around Europe, trying, fighting for their lives and against East Germany. And oh man, really exciting. So, and have that with some Svitskova. You can make it at home. Sirloin steak, root vegetable gravy, a little bit of whipped cream, some cranberry sauce. That's easy to find in the US. And there you go.
What a list. Thanks, man. I mean, this was fun, and we dated ourselves with the pairings, but that's how it is.
That's how it is. We're children of the 80s. Stay true. Point Break all the way.
The Scotch egg to me and the croque monsieur, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, those are two I might want to be tackling at home soon. The La Bamba is kind of interesting as well. But yeah, great list. By the way, since we were talking about Mission Impossible as well, I was on the Wikipedia page. Fun fact, $80 million budget, $457.7 million box office. Talk
For
about
the first one?
Yeah. Talk about a good return on your investment.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that the listeners here got a good return on their investment in this episode. I you like
there was
that?
some good ROI.
You like that? I think there was some good ROI. No, it was great. And by the way, eatingeurope.com, of course, we mentioned, and over on Instagram at Eating Europe. I like the tagline here, making you say, quote, I want to eat that since 2011. I think you lived up to that tagline here today, because outside of the fishy fish things, I did say to myself, oh, I want to eat that. I want to eat that. I want to eat that. So
all of our food tour, many of our food tours feature these dishes. And really a food tour, another way to call a food tour is a bam, 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 bam.
Right.
Or bang, bang. Hold on. What does your friend call it?
A triple bang,
a bang,
six
not
banger,
bang.
Yeah,
this is like a food tour is essentially a 7-banger.
Yeah,
You're going through. And so it's a great way to eat a lot of the most iconic foods in just a matter of 3 or 4 hours. So
it's fun. Yeah, and you bond with the
out.
group, because when you're sharing food with people, you have that layer of bonding that takes place. That it's just a fun way to connect through with people and to a culture. So I know you're passionate about it, and a foodie, obviously. And I appreciate your time. Always great to have you back on the pod. And
always good to be back. Thanks, Jason.
Look forward to seeing you again soon, buddy.
All right, man. Always fun.
Take care.
You too.
There you have it. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. Wondering if you end up making any of these dishes at home, please shoot me a photo or just drop me a line and say hi. If you do, I can share it with the community over on the newsletter, which you can sign up for, by the way, over at zerototravel.com/newsletter. Free to sign up over there, but you get in touch anytime. Jason at zerototravel.com is my email. And now I will leave you with this Irish proverb I found. I thought it was a great way to sum it up. And it says, laughter is brightest where food is best. I love that. I mean, we paired movies and TV shows, as you heard today, but there's no better pairing with food than laughter, right? So I hope you find yourself this holiday season, as we get into it, getting time with those you care about and being able to laugh together and try to find that joy. I know it can be a tough time of year for some people, depending on, your situation or past experiences. I know that the holidays aren't easy for everybody, but I hope that you can find some time to laugh and enjoy some food. So I'll just leave you with that, and I'll leave you with one final thank you for being a part of this community. I mean, this was a long episode. If you're still here, I know you're a big part of this community, and thank you for that. I mean, we're in our 12th year of doing this podcast now, and without the listening community, there is no podcast. I mean, you are the reason why I've kept doing this for so long. I truly value what we have here in terms of the listening community, and I look forward to bringing you more great stuff in the coming weeks and the coming year. So thanks for being here, and I'll chat with you soon. Peace and love to you and yours. Cheers.
This podcast has been brought to you by zerototravel.com. Ideas and advice to make your travel dreams a reality.